next point of this chapter number 10 is nature and scope effect of disaster. Is effect of disaster. So the here I want to say that the effect of disaster changes from disaster to disaster, as different disasters have different side effect. Like flooding. Due to flooding, what is happen, the bridges are collapsed, the flooding is enter into the village or coastal village, so they have to leave their area. Then shortage of food are the some are common problem with the disasters like flood. And if we will focus on the disaster of earthquake, then the problems are collapsing of house, developing of cracks in land are common problems. Now disasters like forest fire and drought are also adversely affect the environment. However, we have to focus on the problem, that what is exact nature of this disaster, where there are any changes in the nature before the occurrence of the disaster, and for how long the effect occurs after the occurrence of disaster, and how it need to be think over all these aspects. And this will help us to understand the nature and the gravity of the disaster, so that we will be prepared for facing, or we can avoid the disaster to be happen. Now disaster definitely affects the economy of the nation, and that effect is always relative to the disasters and economy. That is, if any part is destroyed, there are long lasting effect on economy due to huge expenses on its reconstruction. And after an effect of disaster on social leadership is that if excuse me, if local leadership is not strong enough, the city becomes confused. Means the after disaster thing won't go good. Understood? If the political leader is very strong, then the effect after disaster can be recovered very fast, because all the help and facility we will receive will be very fast. But if our leader is weak, a social leader is weak, then citizen gets confused, because the help will arriving is very slow and not appropriate. And definitely it will affect our rehabilitation activity. So administrative problems arise during the disaster, and if local governing bodies are affected by disaster, the related department cannot answer the problem of the disaster effectively, and all the concerned department are affected by disaster, and thereby entire system collapse. So this is how the problem arises, and how this okay. So this is the effect of disaster. Now this complete the lines, or the let likes, or complete the chart is not in your syllabus this year. So we will going forward, that is nature and scope of disaster. Means how the what is the different disaster nature is there, and what how in what extent this disaster can harm us, and how we can recover through us. This is the main thing. Any if you want to study any disaster, to understand its nature and its scope, you have to go through these 6 points. That is, first pre-disaster phase, then warning phase, pre-disaster phase, then warning phase, then emergency phase, then rehabilitation phase, then phase recovery or reconstruction phase. Then we are towards first phase, that is phase of emergency. Now important character of this phase is that Maximum lives can be saved by quick action during this phase only. Various actions like search and rescue operations, medical assistance, first aid, restoring communication service, removing the people from the affected area are expected in this phase. The gravity of disaster can be estimated in this phase only. Now the phase of emergency. It will arise as soon as disaster is occurred, and as soon as the disaster is occurred, and if we will if this emergency means people are there to save them, then it can be minimized. Understood? Because it is very important, because we can save many life in this initial phase only, and this initial phase will require the more action. Understood? Means we immediately require the search and rescue operation here, medical assistance is required, first aid should be provided, and we should able to communication service should be made strong, or there should be some alternative for the communication in the from the area of disaster to the helping hand, and removing the people from the area affected area is expected in this phase, so that we can save the life of many people. And also how much effect of disaster is there, means gravity, मतलब कितना ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ है या कितना बड़ा ये डिज़ास्टर था, इट कैन बी recognized or estimated only in this phase. Okay, then next phase is transitional phase. Now what is transitional phase? These we are talking about the phases after the disaster. Then rehabilitation work is started in this phase, means we are making the people to back to their work or back to their normal life in this phase. And after the subsidence of any type of disaster, it include clearing of debris, means after the disaster is over, we have to clear the debris, we have to restore the water supply again, we have to repair the roads, etc., to repair the poles, make a connection of electricity and mobile tower again. These are all the things which is done in this phase, and so that it will help to bring the normalcy in public life. And rehabilitation of victim is important aspect of this phase. Generally, different institute offer the monetary and other type of help to such people, so that they will again get through their normal life, like monetary help or food help or shelter help or job help. Such type of many helps are being provided in this phase. If it helps to soothe the mental stress at the earliest, if these victims are offered with the permanent means of earning livelihood, and this is the true rehabilitation. Okay,